Coach Randy Peterson from the Des Moines Register. You've had two linemen at Northern Iowa become pros in the last 2 years.
Yep.
That's two more than Iowa State's had since 2013. What's your secret sauce up there, for example, and how could that translate to here?
Well, I think it's the full development of the player. With those two guys, they had the frame. They're both tough kids from the state of Iowa that they could fill out. And then at the same time, the process to develop them was more than just kind of giving them a plan and walking away from it and saying, hey, you guys got it, we'll see you in 3 years. You had to go in there and really, at times when it was allowed, lift with them, like really holding them accountable with their diet and nutrition. And this answer would probably take me about an hour and a half if I really detailed it out. But there's a lot of specifics to developing, I think, offensive linemen, and really anybody in general, as it comes with strength, nutrition, and really, the full spectrum of developing a body. And then identifying those targets in recruiting that can get to that size. And that's something that I did to myself as a player. So I'm really comfortable with it. I know the process. I did it to myself. And then when you take people in frames that are, even better and larger, it really pays dividends.
How can you improve upon what Iowa State's had in the past?
I think that right now we have extremely talented players. Offensive linemen that they have here are, even from when I first walked in, experienced. They've got a veteran group with, and then the young talent that they have as well. So I think that getting those guys to play faster, simplification is huge in my opinion, to be able to play fast, and the whole different mentality when you play offensive line. And that's kind of what I'm all about, is really, bringing that fight to be an offensive lineman, and kind of what it takes past doing your assignment, in the best way to phrase that. But you know what I'm saying, like really getting after people. And the coolest thing about this place is the resources, the people, because from the top down, from the head coach to the support staff, everybody is like, very invested in developing people. They make an environment where you can develop, and then the facilities, the nutrition, everything that surrounds this place, you have every tool to get that job done, plus to any limit that you ever would put on yourself. There is no reason why, these guys can't. They have everything. This place is the facility is amazing. They've got so many different people to support you, more than I've ever had in my life as a player or a coach. So I think that I'm just really excited for the times to come.
I think it was 3 seasons ago the blocking schemes changed, or the type of blocking changed. Have you kind of dug into that? Are you going to be making a whole lot of changes? Or are you going to kind of go back maybe to the way it was, I think, pre-2020, where that's where it goes?
Yeah, so right now that's, what we're doing right now, that postseason evaluation, scheme evaluation, especially with so many new faces in the room, that everyone has different, ideas and backgrounds and kind of how they've done things at a high level. And, the number one thing I believe in as you go through this process is what can the players do best, the players that are here. Because sometimes you'll have we've done this here, different types of players, different bodies. So really identifying what do our guys do best, and how can they operate at such a high level. And again, the simplification process is key. That's really where football has gone, especially for an offensive line perspective. So really getting those guys to be free and fly off the ball, and have bad intentions when they're playing the game.
You talked about the two linemen that you put in the NFL at UNI. I'm just kind of curious, recruiting at that level and bringing guys like that in, developing them. Is there a secret recipe or something that you're kind of looking for when you recruit those guys that you can kind of see they have the potential to get that far?
Yeah, for me personally, one of the first questions I ask people is like, why do you play offensive line? That'll tell you a lot about somebody, because there's a generic answer, and it's usually like whatever it is, it's what they've seen someone say on TV at the time, or it's like, yeah, I played offensive line because I was the biggest kid since I was in second grade, or you get the true answer from the kid, and his mentality fits what you believe in, and then you're looking at the frame. There is a secret to it, and you're really looking at the frame, everything about the body, the shoulder width, the ankles, like the way that prospect moves and runs, and then really like beyond highlight tapes, how does he play every other sport? Is he just out there dominating in football as an offensive lineman, and then he's playing basketball and he's just kind of there, or is he physical and fighting for the ball? You know what I mean? Like just the whole mentality of the player. That's what I look for personally, and that's been the fun part of even from the recruiting process of coming in and getting to see the guys that they've targeted, and then okay, these are my evaluations, and kind of mixing the two, and we found some gems in my opinion that are guys that other schools didn't really identify, and so that formula is a secret for a reason. I don't want other people to know that stuff.
You kind of gave a hint as to how much you want to be involved with guys when you can, down to lifting with them and everything else. Are there guys, though, that also kind of want to be left to their own devices, and is navigating those personalities kind of a part of the deal where, hey, this is what I feel works best from my perspective, but if somebody's like, I'd rather lift alone, coach, how do you deal with different personalities in that way?
I don't think we have anybody that is specifically like, I'd rather lift alone. I think that if you're a player and you put yourself in their shoes, and you got a coach that's maybe yelling at them or screaming at them, and you got to get stronger, and then you shake hands and they leave the meeting, and then it's like the kid leaves the meeting and he's like, well, how do I get stronger? I don't understand what you're talking about. So not only developing that roadmap for them from all aspects. I'm talking about your body clock, the timing of the meals, nutrition, obviously how to use the resources that are available here, which is like beyond belief. And then at the same time, it's like, okay, he's not just telling me I need to get stronger, but he's down here with me doing it. So in my opinion, leading by example is huge. Now there'll be a day and time where my body's completely broken and I can't do that anymore, and then I'm just gonna have to tell stories about how much I lifted, but that's not today. So.
True stories, I'm sure.
True stories, yeah. I caught a fish that was this big, so.
What's the most interested me when you said you got this mental questionnaire or whatever? What's the most intriguing response you've gotten from your player? Why do you want to be an offensive lineman?
In recruiting in the past, look at the interviews when you ask Trevor Penning why he plays offensive line, and you'll figure it out really fast.
Yeah, what did he say?
It's too even explicit to even say. And he plays with bad intentions, very bad intentions, and that's like that's him as a player. The best part about that, because there's always a line where if someone is that physical and on the field, and then they can never turn it off. But that's the thing about a guy like Trevor, he was that guy on the field. He was the guy that truly defined playing to the echo of the whistle, like completely. But as soon as you got off the field, he was a great leader and a guy that everybody respected, and he was very humble, and he's a great teammate. So I think that's the line of having the switch to flip it on and off. Because then you go into the community, like that's the whole thing about this place I respect the most, like hands down, is that they truly care about like the player, the person, more than just the actual like football playing ability. You know what I'm saying? And that's extremely rare in Power 5 college football, extremely rare. And so I think that that's the coolest thing is they're in the evaluation process. You know, we as Coach says, dive a mile deep and like try to find out, you know, what they're really about, even away from football, and if they're going to be the best fit for the people that we have here. And I think that once you really marry those two and you get that person that is the great fit here, it brings that environment of competition and a great fit for them and the players that you already have. So I think that the way that he does it and the way that he has a personal relationship with everybody on the team, as being that high level of a head coach, it really shows you the difference between him and everyone else. And that's the stuff that I'm learning as I go. And it's been fun to learn that from him, that you can still do that in this landscape of college football.
So Penning's the guy you want in a dark alley with you.
Oh, it's not even close. Yeah. I would, if it was me and him in the alley, I don't think there's anybody else. I would just send him in the alley. Like there's nobody else.
Who's your starting center? You've got starters everywhere right now.
Well,
I mean, other than center.
The beautiful part about, for me personally, I've learned how to play center, and I've had the opportunity. What did you say?
You can't play though.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of offensive, in my opinion, from what I've seen, there's two ways to coach centers. There's the way of really getting technical with it, and there's a lot of different techniques that you can really invest time in people and teach them how to play, and there's a ton of tips for that. And if you don't have someone that's necessarily played center their whole life, it's really not that hard to teach them how to play center. As long as you feel comfortable, having known or learned those techniques, that's what I've done. So I've played all 5 positions on the offensive line. So I can coach a tackle just as much as I can coach a center. And, we've been going through that and developing that process for those centers. And it's in my opinion, you don't just have – there's no reason why someone that's played center their whole life should automatically be the center. You see what I'm saying? It's our job to put the best 5 players on the offensive line out there. And if the best one needs to learn how to play center, there it is, done. And like the center that I had last year at Northern Iowa, he's a 6'7", 315-pound tackle that is extremely smart, and he's going in the draft this year and had never played center. Well, taught him how to play center because he was, going to be in the best 5. So that's the process as you go. So I think that's the advantage that we have right now.
With that right now, and I know it's early, do you anticipate a lot of switching around the positions kind of through the summer?
Yeah, I think that's the key because, there's a lot of different factors that you got to play in. Whether it's a right-handed, left-handed quarterback, where, the pass protection needs to be built, and then really truly to their body types and their size. You have, on this offensive line, you have guys that are extremely experienced and talented that are 6'9", and there's guys that are 6'1.5" that are both the same, level of talent. But I think truly finding the right spot and being able to put the best 5 out there, that's the key in this whole development process, is like really, defining their role, but at the same time teaching them multiple roles that if you're on the road and you need a switch, it's not just necessarily like I play this one position, I'm waiting for my shot. It's giving, and really competition breeds success. So giving everybody else a fair shot at, like, I'll teach you how to, as long as your body allows it, I can teach you how to play multiple positions, gives you a better chance to get on the field, gives the team a better chance to win. And I think that's the key when you get to offensive line development.